Mr. Boone. You are Mr. Boone, I presume?
Right.
You're about what I expected. I am Colonel Marcus Worthy.
Where are they?
The people of Boonesboro, your family.
I said, where are they?
You rebellious provincials must be taught proper respect for the crown.
People of Boonesboro haven't rebelled against anybody.
There have been widespread rumors of a planned revolt against His Majesty. A courier has been sent to the British garrison at Norfolk to inform General Hastings that this fort has been evacuated. The general has promised to send a full regiment to occupy it. A regiment under my command.
Sounds to me like you're planning on starting a war.
If it should become necessary, Mr. Boone, British ships have been sent to blockade the eastern seaboard. With a stronghold here, the rebellious colonists in between will be contained.
The women and children. Why did you take them?
Can you think of a better way to ensure peaceful cooperation?
It appears you didn't overlook a thing.
There is one small item of unfinished business, but we have a long journey ahead of us. We can discuss it as we proceed. Come along.
Daniel Boone. From his moonskin cap on the top of old Dan to the heel of his rawhide shoe, the rippinest, roaringest, fightingest man the frontier ever knew. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, and he fought for America to make all Americans free. What a boom, what a doer, what a dream come truer was he.
Colonel's coming.
That unfinished business you spoke of. Could it be why you waited for me at the fort?
You're a very astute man, Mr. Boone. That is precisely the reason. I understand the land on which Fort Boonesboro stands is held in legal title by you. I want you to transfer that title to me, Mr. Boone.
To you personally? In your name?
Yes, Mr. Boone.
Doesn't sound like it's the king's business to me.
Oh, I assure you that this transaction is in His Majesty's interests.
In what way?
That is none of your concern, Mr. Boone. All I require from you is your signature on a deed.
And if you don't get it?
I'll hang you as the leader of a rebellion on this frontier.
I don't think you'll do that, Colonel.
Really? Why not?
Because you won't get what you're after.
Then I recommend that you consider the welfare of your wife and family, Mr. Boone. You have plenty of time to think about it.
We are ready to go, sir.
Ah, I see that we're about ready to proceed. I trust you like traveling by canoe. We'll start the portage here.
Secure those paddles.
Come, Mr. Boone, we have a little walking to do.
After you, Colonel. Chickasaw country. Mind telling me just where it is we're going?
I see no reason why I shouldn't. The savages have a rather quaint name for it. They call it the River of the Moon.
Those savages are a mite touchy about white men trespassing their land. What kind of pact did you make with them?
Well, the pact is still pending. White scalps are selling for a premium at Fort Detroit.
Colonel, someday I might just take your scalp. For free.
I think not, Mr. Boone. However, I do think that you will accommodate me and sign that deed. Lieutenant. We'll camp here for the night. Move the canoes to the other side of the rapids so we can start again at dawn.
Yes, sir. Corporal! Now the other canoe.
Beautiful country, don't you think so, Mr. Boone? A wilderness empire, owned and ruled by a few tribes of primitive savages. To think what a man of ambition could achieve here staggers the imagination.
Those savages, as you call them, might not be as primitive as you think. One thing they know are the boundaries to their lands set up by treaty.
A treaty made with heathens is hardly one that need be honored, unless, of course, for a particular purpose.
You're going to double-cross the Indians as well.
Of course. Rather an audacious undertaking, don't you think?
Colonel, a while back, I told you I was going to scalp you. And if you start playing games with the Chickasaws, too, I might just have to stand in line. Well, I guess you and your men can feel quite proud of yourselves, Lieutenant. Stealing a whole community the size of Boonesboro, and all the lands of the Chickasaws thrown in. That's no mean accomplishment.
I can understand you're feeling bitter, Mr. Boone, but I'd hardly call it theft.
No, I don't suppose you would. Tell me, Lieutenant, how much are you getting out of this?
I resent that, sir.
I know how you feel, Lieutenant, but if he's not going 50-50 with you, I'd set up quite a yell.
I refuse to listen to this kind of talk.
You can do that, too, but that don't change things any. The Colonel's not doing this all by himself, you know.
I am not in the habit of questioning the orders of my superior officer.
Now, if I were you, that's a habit I'd break. Suppose His Majesty finds out he's being made party to a theft.
Don't press me too far, Mr. Boone. I could have you shot for what you've said already.
The Colonel won't allow it. Haven't signed his paper yet.
You'll sign them.
I admit I haven't got much choice, but that's not what I'm aiming at.
Then aim it, Mr. Boone.
Lieutenant, he's already double-crossed the king. The Chickasaws are next. What makes you think he won't double-cross you when the time comes?
Yes, Lieutenant, what is it?
Your tea, sir.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
I've just had a talk with Boone.
So?
I think he's dangerous. He has a good idea of what you're planning.
He not only has a good idea, he knows perfectly well what I'm planning, Lieutenant. I went to the trouble of explaining it to him myself. Not in great detail, of course, but the general picture was quite clear.
You told him?
Yes. It was perfectly obvious even to his backwoods mind. I thought it was better to put his curiosity at rest.
Do you think that was wise?
As I explained to you at the outset, Lieutenant, I planned the Indian takeover carefully so that it may be done outwardly and with official sanction. As for Boonesboro, there'll be a proper bill of sale over Boone's signature. The papers are all prepared.
Well, what about the settlers? They have a tremendous loyalty toward him.
Loyalty is an impermanent thing, Lieutenant. It is quite easily destroyed by doubt. How much loyalty do you think they'll have if he should refuse to sign? I should think it's more likely that they would hang him rather than take his side.
You do intend to set them free, as you promised.
Why do you ask that, Lieutenant?
I'd like your word on it, sir. I want no settler's blood on my hands.
Nor do I, Lieutenant. You have my word.
Thank you, sir. Detail on the double!
Well, Mr. Boone, perhaps you recognize this place.
Hasham's Point. Used to be quite a stockade up through those trees.
There still is, or what's left of it. Carry on. You see something of interest, Mr. Boone?
There was a massacre up there 5 or 6 years back. It's like you're planning another.
Oh, you mean the cannon? A mere precaution. You know how untrustworthy the Chickasaws are.
Given a choice between them or you, I trust the Indians.
Sign here, Mr. Boone, and your family will be returned to you safe and sound.
What about the rest of the folks from Boonesboro?
I could say I'll release them, but I'm afraid I have to be honest with you. They must remain here a while longer.
As a matter of fact, Colonel, I'm not even sure my own family's here.
Well, perhaps a short reunion might be in order. We have plenty of time. Come with me.
We'll wait for you here.
Daniel's here.
Cincinnatus?
It's Bob!
Mrs. Boone is a lovely woman, Lieutenant. A lovely woman.
Oh, I knew you'd come, Pa. I just knew it. You gonna get us out of it, Pa?
I'm gonna try, boy.
The soldiers came just as we were sitting down to supper.
They come marching up to the fort all peaceful like, claiming they was out of supplies. So we let them in.
And we found ourselves looking down the barrels of their muskets.
Well, I know the feeling. I've been looking down the barrels of at least a dozen muskets up there. There's a lot of good reasons for doing what the colonel wants.
Dan, I prayed you wouldn't come back home until they'd left. Now you're their prisoner, too. What's going to become of us?
Nothing. At least until I go back up there and make that deal.
What kind of a deal, Boone? If you're making a deal, we got a right to know about it.
Yeah.
I said, what kind of deal are you making?
I'm making a deal with the colonel. The deed to Fort Boonesboro for the safety of my family.
What about the rest of us?
Make your own deal. I made mine.
Daniel, there ain't a one of us got holdings large enough to bargain with.
Well, that's your hard luck. You got yourself into this, get yourself out.
Daniel.
You're just walking out on the rest of us?
Take it any way you like, but I'm not teaming up with the kind of men that get themselves taken by a handful of British soldiers. You're nothing but a bunch of yellow cowards.
You're not living long enough to sell me.
Sentry! Guards! On the double!
The prisoners!
Oh, what's happening?
We just have to have faith that your father...
Long men! On the double! Stop that fight! Stop the fight! Come on! Here he is! Order here! Order!
Release this man. Lieutenant, post extra guards around the stockade until their tempers have cooled off. I'll have no more outbreaks of this kind. Mr. Boone, you will come with us.
I'll be glad to, Colonel.
Corporal, take 2 of your men and come with us.
Daniel.
wouldn't by any chance have been trying to engineer an escape, would you, Mr. Boone?
Not with all those cannons looking down my throat.
Would you kindly explain to me what caused the trouble?
They seem to think I'd sold them out because I said I'd signed the deed. You find that amusing, Colonel?
It bears out a theory I've always held concerning loyalty.
Well, it changes mine.
Well, I'm glad you decided to see things my way.
The sooner I sign those papers, the sooner I'll get my family out of here.
Mind you, the others must remain here.
We both know you have to keep them here as bait for Chickasaws, don't we, Colonel?
I gather you're no longer interested in their welfare.
After what just happened? I figure it's every man for himself.
A wise decision.
Don't let him get away!
No trace of him, Lieutenant?
No, sir. I'm inclined to think he's dead.
There's no use searching further tonight, men. Lieutenant, double the guard around the camp.
Yes, sir.
Big Turtle is a fool.
Whitefeather, fighting you is getting to be a habit.
You will come to my father's camp.
Funny, I'm just going to ask you to take me there. Let's go to your father's camp before we wear each other. All right?
Did you post the extra sentries as I instructed?
Yes, sir. They're well concealed at some distance from the stockade. If Boone comes back, he'll not escape again.
He'll come back. If he's still alive.
Colonel.
Yes?
Isn't it possible he might have gone to the Indians for help?
The Cherokees are his only hope. And they're too far away. He daren't go to the Chickasaws. They have a price on his head. As a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons why they were willing to bargain with us.
He's not the sort of man who would abandon his family.
That's what I'm depending on, Lieutenant.
So So he must have had some plan in mind before he ran away.
Yes, you may be right. In which case, his wife would know. Bring Mrs. Boone to me here.
Yes, sir.
Israel, don't you think it's about time you was turning in?
Reckon so. Mr. Cincinnatus, when do you think Pa'll be back?
I don't know, Israel. Most folks around here don't think your pa's coming back.
That ain't so. He told me he'd be back, and he ain't never told a lie.
I know. Sometimes folks just ain't got enough faith.
Where's Mrs. Boone?
She ain't here.
Israel, where are you going?
What do you want?
Mrs. Boone,
Yes?
Colonel Worthing would like to speak with you.
She's not coming.
He'd like to speak with you now, Mrs. Boone.
Israel. Now, you take care of your sister just like your pa would.
Don't worry, Becky.
All right, Lieutenant.
After you, Mrs. Boone. Colonel Worthing?
Yes, Lieutenant?
Mrs. Boone is here, sir.
Ah, Mrs. Boone. Won't you come in? Thank you for coming, Mrs. Boone. Won't you sit down?
I prefer to stand.
As you wish.
What do you want, Colonel?
I merely want to find out where your husband is, Mrs. Boone.
I don't know.
Then you agree with me that he has abandoned you, too.
That's not what I said.
I admire loyalty, although in many cases it's misguided. Take your case, for example. A short while ago, I offered to release you and the children in exchange for your husband's signature. He refused.
Dan refused to sign. He had his reasons.
Selfish ones, perhaps, though not sufficient to justify the sacrifice of a beautiful woman like you. I should hate to have to hand you and the children over to the Indians. Surely, there must be some alternative. Can't you think of one? Some wine?
Good night, Colonel.
Quite a gathering.
What is between us must be settled before the eyes of my brothers. You took my honor. For a Chickasaw warrior to live without honor is not to live. Or has Big Turtle forgotten?
Well, now, that was a couple of years back. You were just a young buck feeling your oats when you chose me.
When you had your knife at my throat, you should have used it.
Big Turtle is the enemy of my people. Because of you, my son wears the chaplet of a squaw. There is but one way he can regain his honor. You will fight again, this time to the death.
Adewale, I have a piece to speak. And you know as well as I do, a man don't go sticking his head in a hornet's nest unless he's got a mighty good reason. Now, I don't want to fight your son again. Because if I fight him again, this time I'm going to have to kill him. And you're going to kill me. And in the morning, right after sunrise, the British are going to come and kill you and all of your people.
How can this be? The Chickasaws and the Redcoats are friends.
Well, if you'll just listen, I'll be happy to explain it to you. Now, I know about your bargain with the Redcoats. But I also know the Redcoat colonel speaks with a forked tongue. and he will not deliver my people to you as he promised. Instead, he aims to kill you and all of your people.
We are not afraid of the redcoats.
If it were a fair fight, I'd agree with you. But it isn't. He's laid a trap for you using my people as bait.
How could you know this?
I was a prisoner in his camp. I escaped and came to you.
What is this trap you speak of?
Here's the British camp. Here's the stockade where the prisoners are. And here's the old fort. You know these places?
I know them.
In the old fort are many rifle and cannon. When you go into the stockade to claim your captives, the colonel intends to kill you all.
What do you want of the Chickasaw?
Let Whitefeather come with me to see that I speak the truth. Together we will silence the cannon and save many lives, Indian and white alike. And he will walk as a man again.
Do you trust this man, my son? Let it be so. Do you need my warriors?
No. We'll go alone.
I'm ready.
Come for your captives at sunrise and you'll see the Red Colonel's treachery.
We will be there.
Boone's going under. One I don't get.
Cincinnati. Shh, not so loud. Daniel's back.
Where is he?
He's out there somewhere.
Did you see him?
Oh, I heard him. Bird calls. Anybody but a dang fool British soldier would know that no self-respecting bird would be awake at this hour.
What do you suppose he's up to?
I don't know, but there's somebody with him. I heard 2 birds chirping.
Where would he find anyone way out here?
Thought there's nobody here but them Chickasaws.
Mom, what's wrong?
Nothing, darling. Everything's all right. Go back to sleep. You too, Israel.
I got no idea what he wants, but I figured you might like to know, so to put your mind at rest.
Thank you, Cincinnati.
Well, what do you want?
Why aren't you asleep with the rest of them?
Any law against a man visiting his friends?
Get back where you belong.
Oh, put that thing away. I'll go on my own.
What is it?
Indian canoe, sir.
Lieutenant Morris to report to me at once.
Yes, sir.
You wish to see me, sir?
Lieutenant, dismiss the guards. Have them report to me at once. Turn the captives over to the Chickasaws.
You gave your word they'd have their freedom.
Only if Boone kept his word. Turn them over to the Indians.
Yes, sir.
Corporal, fly the jack.
Yes, sir.
Compliments of the Colonel. The prisoners are this way.
Reckon now you know I was telling you the truth.
I would not have come had I not believed you.
White Feather, the fight we had a couple of years back, I didn't mean to bring you dishonor.
I made the fight. I made my boast I would kill Big Turtle. I only wish to look big in the eyes of my father.
You sure made yourself big tonight. That chapelette, I got an idea that's coming off.
My father placed it there. Only my father can take it off.
Let's go up and see how the Colonel's gonna act when he finds out we spiked his cannon.
Prisoners! Attention! Attention!
Corporal, man the cannons.
Sentries! Dismiss!
Here are the captives we promised. I leave them to you.
Where is Big Turtle? You said he would be here.
He escaped from us. He can't be very far away.
You just bet your boots he can't.
Fire! Fire! Spread out! Everybody get under cover! sir!
I said fire, you fools, fire!
It's all through. You're wasting your time, Colonel.
I will not be intimidated by you nor this heathen.
I speak for my father, chief of the Chickasaw. You will go from this land before the sun rises again, or you and all your redcoat soldiers will die here. I have spoken for my father.
If I were you, I'd put that down and do as he says.
Do you really expect me to run, Mr. Boone?
The way I see it, running beats dying.
Colonel Worthing, you are under arrest. May I have your sword? May I present this to you with His Majesty's regrets, Mr. Boone?
Well, I figured it was the man, not the uniform, Lieutenant.
After this day, I will no more fight against you. There will be peace. It is good.
Just one more thing, Ottawa. A while back, I gave Whitefeather his life. Today, he gave me back mine. I figure that's fair enough.
We have many canoes. We will see that your people get home safely.
Strike the jack!
Forward! Ha! Halt! Forward! Ha!
Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, with an eye like an eagle and as tall as a mountain was he. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man. He was brave, he was fearless, and as tough as a mighty oak tree. From the coonskin cap on the top of old Dan to the heel of his rawhide shoe, the rippin'est, roarin'est, fightin'est man the frontier ever knew. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, with an eye like an eagle and as tall as a mountain was he. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big